the 2023-2024 school year, the Kentucky Department of Education has updated their science education standards after initially placing them under review back in 2021. EKU this week is stepping in to encourage high school students on their STEM path options.
It's very important, especially with girls, to get them introduced into STEM so they get comfortable with it as soon as possible. It's shown that there's more boys in STEM than girls in STEM. Both matter, but we of course want it to be more equal. And I think introducing to them at a young age gets them more comfortable that I am good at STEM, I can do STEM.
The week's events will focus on multiple disciplines, including math, chemistry, biology, wildlife management, and even forensic science, with the main goal of the event to be showcasing the variety of STEM jobs available to young Kentuckians.
So there are lots of careers out there based on STEM. So we think it's important to expose our children, our young ones, to this area so that we can inspire them to start liking STEM, and hopefully they'll find a career.
According to tests administered by KDE, only 13% of high school students scored proficient in science, making it one of the worst tested areas in the 2021-2022 school report card.
Science can be a part of English and math. I think it's so interdisciplinary that people get a little scared of how broad it is and how you can do anything with it. But it shouldn't be scary. I think that should be the fun part of it.
EKU hopes that students will get the chance to learn more about STEM programs and be inspired to continue their curiosity into a science career. In Richmond, Alexa Minton, WKYT.